What is up, everybody? It is Alex from Heavy New York calling from the Altar again, and this time, round five, we return with Maurizio of the almighty Cataclysm. Great to have you coming back on the show today, man.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, when are you and I just gonna co-host this shit? Because I feel like I've had you more than any other guest. You and
Right?
D- you, Dino, and Dave from Revocation are the three like most guests I've had on here.
Really?
Yeah, so
Well, I'll take that as a great compliment, and so thank you, and honored to be here again with you.
yeah,
You have a great show, so
no, thank you.
always great to do it.
It's an honor to hear you say that as one of the first death metal bands I've gotten into. So thank you.
Cool.
Yeah. But so first thing is always first because last time I spoke to you, Goliath wasn't even out yet. We were doing the whole typical promotional thing about that. But now it's been out for almost a year. I still think that the record kicks ass. I definitely would put it in maybe the top five Cataclysm records, at least for my own personal standards. So now that
Cool.
it's been a year since it's been released, when we're hyping it up and we're promoting it and all that at the very beginning, but now
Right.
that we're a year into it, do you feel like that the record has maybe more different meaning behind it now that fans have been able to experience it and interpret it in their own way?
I think the record is aging very well. It's not that old. I mean, it came out in August last year, so but it is taking some time now to move around the world properly. And it seems like a record that keeps on growing from the inside. Like people are getting attached to different songs on there, and I feel that when we bring them live, people know the record very well already. So it's been this last tour we just did in Europe was probably one of our most successful tours we've ever done there, and as a headliner, and a lot of sold out shows, and just people knew every single song. I think they're attaching themselves to the lyrics a lot about this record, and it's very real time what's going on a little bit around the world. So I think it's just a lot of these little things that are connecting with the fan base, and the music's very honest, and I think those things that work well when Cataclysm is focused 100% on the message and on the music. I think we tend to do very memorable records. I think this one is one of those that's up there, like you said. Definitely in the top five. I think
Yeah,
as
I
well.
couldn't agree with you more. And like, I do want to ask this. So I never really get a chance to ask artists this when doing the usual promotional record interview because we talk about the
Mhm.
record and then I always ask about like the songwriting and your inspiration. I pretty much already asked you every question that I have like that I keep in my back pocket. So this is
Right.
sort of like a topic I wanted to discuss because I'm seeing more and more young death metal fans just hearing of Cataclysm. And you guys have been, your first album came out in 95. And more
Right.
people are discovering Cataclysm. I was just interviewing Glenn Benton from DSI today, and
Mhm.
he's noticing more young fans. Is it me? Would it be? I don't know if this is a strong statement, but I really do think that the world of death metal, with the rise of new bands and veterans still killing it, is really in like the best era that we've been in ever.
Right. I do see a lot more young kids getting into it. I think people are frustrated, and I don't think that mumble rap is going to bring you that satisfaction. So I think, they were probably pretty much the leaders right now in the sense of rebel music out there, in my opinion. That genre of music, a lot of kids were going on board with that much more than metal compared to what it was when it used to be in the 90s or early 2000s. Now I feel there's kind of like a resurrection of it. I do see a big uptick in new kids showing up at the shows. It's funny because you see, old guy that could be the guy's kid, like it could be his kid out there, could be his son or whatever, and they're just different in age, but enjoying the music all together and understanding what's going on. And you know, uh, I think that specifically with Cataclysm, the message we always portray is that the world's going to be big, and there's a lot of stuff that's going to go against you, and the important thing is to never give up and to really fight for what you believe in. If like you just did, you at some point you got to take the bulls by the horn and do it. Instead of like being afraid. I think fear is the biggest problem that the world has right now. Everybody's afraid, and nobody wants to speak up about anything. Everybody's afraid about getting canceled or all kinds of different crap that's out there right now. And I think that doesn't keep a society sane.
Yeah.
So I believe that the music we're doing right now is reaching out to a lot of kids that are feeling like that, and that they want to fight back. And the title of the record says it all. I think that we're in that moment right now as a society in general. So I think that that's helping kids attach, as far as at least for Cataclysm, that's definitely something. But you're right, it's across the board. I see it, which is an encouraging factor.
So, like, there's a joke that a friend of mine said where if it's a busy day at the doctor's office, is that a good thing or a bad thing? It's maybe a good for business, but it's maybe not good that there's a lot of sick or injured people. So part of me
Right.
wonders if death metal is almost kind of like the same way. Like, it's crazier than it's ever been. That's a great thing. But you're right, there are probably more pissed off people than ever been before.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Hey, it's like we're a different kind of breed, and if the kids that are following metal and that are into it are not thinking the same way as everybody else, so that's kind of like it's our niche. We really really like to protect that, and but everybody's welcome. If you come in this industry and you start liking the bands, you go into shows and stuff, it becomes kind of like our own kind of church, you know what I mean, like our own gathering of rebels and outcasts, and it's like, yeah, everybody has a similarity in their story, and I think that's what kind of puts everybody together in this loyalty that they have with their bands.
yeah.
You really don't find that. It's like you're belonging to something, and that everybody takes care of each other. And I think in the metal scene we're very good with that.
Absolutely. One thing I've always loved, from doing interviews and, working with all these people in the industry, bands, managers, PRs, whatever, is that, look, this is a difficult industry. Not a lot of people have the privilege of maybe even working in this industry for a living. And if they are, they're doing a bunch of other things that everybody who's involved in this industry, whether they're playing an instrument or working backstage, is involved in this because they love it. And I think
Absolutely.
that's like one of the realest things about the genre in a way, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. And it's to me, it's easy to connect with something that has a strong message of uplifting, and I think that there's a lot of bands that do that, also like Hatebreed, and there's bands that are out there that are just pushing a good message in general. Even if it's a negative one, it's more built out of anger and being rebellious than anything else. So I think when you're a youth, you're confused, and you're not sure what direction you'll take in life, so you're mad at the world. And I think that we're there to kind of say, hey, we also were like that, we're like that now, and you're welcome in our industry. So I think that makes things easier for everybody to adapt to it.
Yeah. And, we've all seen, death metal fans and musicians alike are some of the friendliest people. They're it's honestly, I think it's really something to behold where we have the most aggressive. I was interviewing Glenn Benton, the king of satanic death metal, and I might have laughed harder than I've ever done in any other interview.
He's awesome. He's a good friend of mine. He lives only an hour away from me, and we hang out a lot. And he's crazy. I just did a lot of touring with him. I mean, with the 2 U.S. tours,
Yep.
one
I was at
America.
both.
He's a trip. Yeah, we had a lot of good times.
Yeah, and like
He's fun.
I think just the sense of humor that's behind it. But let's be real, and I'm not like saying this it's negative. It's just objectively speaking, this is an
Right.
angry form of music. It's a there's darkness that's infused with it. There's a lot of anger in it. Whether you're singing about Satanism or you're singing about what's fucked up in the world, there's a lot of negativity that creates catharsis, that creates this art, which I think is why some people are intimidated by it. Some people don't want to
Right.
face the darkness
Yeah.
of the world head on.
Yeah.
But as somebody who has to digest this music, and as somebody who has this as a career, who has to make albums like this constantly, do you find that there is sometimes we do become victims of our own product, as I call it, in a way? Is there almost kind of an art to expressing this darkness without almost letting it consume you?
The thing is that, like, so this is my perception, right? I think that, yeah, for example, I think Deicide in general is a band going into the lyrical concepts of things that did this from the beginning in a time where they came out the gate. They really wore the rebellious band that was against all that stuff, very satanic, all that stuff. Slayer was like that too, and all these bands. I just think that now, if I just see that as kind of beating a dead horse. It's like it's not. it's not rebellious anymore to do that, in my opinion.
Yeah, of course.
But because it's deicide, they can do it forever because they were originators of it. You know what I mean? All these new bands that are coming out, all super satanic and all that stuff. To me, it's not. I just find it taboo now. Like I don't feel it like it's do they get engulfed in it? I think some people are just doing it for the motion and the shock values now. But that's my opinion. I'm more about the strong message behind the music, and that's something that has to do with everyday life struggle. It can be addiction, can be anything that it is. I find that like I can get engulfed in my lyrics. Like I can be like right now I want to write another record. Like I have stuff to say, right? So I'm very focused on pushing what I'm thinking out there. But that's me. Some people are storytellers, and some people are just about life, right? So I'm more about real life. So that's where we all differentiate, and that's what makes this industry very interesting. Is because you can get whatever you want if you look for it, you know.
Yeah.
So do some people get engulfed by it? I think some people really believe what they're writing, you know, and they live by it. But I think in this moment, there's a lot of this, you know, satanic with a rainbow shirt, and then it's like I don't know if it goes together. You know what I'm saying?
Well, hey, listen, I grew up on metalcore. When I was in high school, the metal like bands like Asking Alexandria and Bring Me the Horizon were the bands that were taking off. So I grew up in what I call the bubble letter era of metalcore. See, back in my day, kids, we didn't have unreadable death metal band logos. All of our band logos were in colorful bubble letters. So
right.
So
So it depends, right? It depends whatever rocks your boat. You know, I think I've been in it for a very long time, so I have a different opinion on things. But if you're just coming in this industry and you're grabbing some music and then you're like totally engulfed by the lyrics and it's grabbing you for a certain way, then that's you. You know what I mean? Do bands actually, you know, start believing their hype? I'm sure there's a lot of bands that do that. You know, I'm not going to name names, but I know that there is.
Yeah.
You know?
But and circling back to the metalcore that I grew up quickly, I just want to point this out quickly. I need to mention it somewhere on the channel. I grew up with metalcore. That's my genre. I grew up with everything from Killswitch Engage to all that stuff.
Fall, all that.
Yep. Yeah. But like, what I love about the emo metalcore movement, and I grew up with emo too. Like, My Chemical Romance was my childhood. Mm-hmm. But I love it when they'll say like, this song is about how much I wanted to kill myself after my girlfriend broke up with me. This song is called I Think I Ate Too Much Shrimp This Morning. Like.
It's like that.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So it's just one of those ironic things. But
right.
But one thing
there's a comedy thing though. There is a twist of comedy in there and sarcasm, you know, and that's okay. You know what I mean? Because I mean, at some point, you can't beat the same thing over and over and over. So I guess people are trying to, you know, come up and say, hey, I'm not taking this as serious as I'm saying. Yeah. You know. So some people are like that, and some bands are like that. So that's what I'm saying. It's a very big variety. Like to me, there's, especially in black metal, I find that there's like different layers. You know, you can go and like, you know, these guys are the real deal. They probably, when you go to their house, there's candles everywhere, a little bit like yours right now. Like they're living like that. They have the skulls everywhere, and they're like, you know. But then there's the other person that are super sophisticated. They just play black metal, and it's like, I just do it for the money, you know. So there's all kinds of different, you know. They probably go to church on Sundays, right? So there's all kinds of different divisions in this industry, you know. There's I remember there was bands. I'm not naming names today, but there's bands back in the day that were black metal and now they're considered Disney black metal. They say Disneyland for black, you know, black metal for Disneyland.
I already know what bands we could be referring to, but like, and look, but like, look, there are some people who think that they're so true and evil, and I mean, they look like a bunch of. There's one particular infamous character. You all could probably assume who it is. I won't mention his name because I don't want to give this shithead any promotion. But like, he was considered to be so true. He went to jail for this shit. He burned shit down. The dude looks like a fucking fisherman right now, and so I think the whole true thing is just as subjective as how heavy something is.
Right. So if you come into this industry and you take this as a fantasy thing, right? Like if you don't go too serious when you're looking at bands that have imagery, that they're promoting a certain things. Sometimes it's just for fun. You know, I work with a lot of bands, and you know, I manage a lot of bands. I manage bands like Septic Flesh, Flesh God Apocalypse, Windrose. They're touring right now, it's sold out everywhere,
So
and those
fucking
guys are
good.
they're doing like the dwarf stuff, but you can really get engulfed and go into their world, and the people are going dressed up as dwarves with like big heart, like pickaxes and stuff. And you know what? It's cool because they're getting out of their element, and that's what metal's supposed to do, right? You're supposed to get out of it and enjoy that moment. It's the people that actually take it so seriously that want to like, I'm gonna kill, I'm talking, this is the lyrics I'm talking about, and I'm gonna, rip some child out of some womb and be like going crazy like that. And then in real life, you talk to these guys, they're the nicest people in the world.
Yeah.
They've never heard an ant, they are vegans, so it's kind of like, it depends how if you come into this and you listen to it in a version of in a way it's like you just getting transported into this band's world, then it's cool, right? Like then you understand what they're doing, and then you can take it. If you take it too seriously, then I don't know if it works in metal anymore. Like let's say the early days when you thought those people were like living like that.
Yeah.
Right.
And look, the reality is, even if you are taking yourself seriously, and everybody in the scene looks at you like the real OG in your worship, let's not be real. This is a real, and I'm just saying the reality as a lover of this genre who lives by it in a way. But like, this is still an acquired taste of music. One reason why it's death metal is because it doesn't appeal to the masses. So you may be true to the echo, to this relatively decent sized echo chamber of death metal fans, but you really think anybody from the outside gives a fuck? And and I'm not like saying that to be mean or critical. It's just I've learned from interviewing bands and talking to so many bands and stuff that there is a reality to be faced where maybe just because you're true in this aspect of life, maybe you're not. You go out into the quote unquote real world outside of this clique and you aren't true at all.
Right. And it's, back in my day, we had the thing, you call somebody that's like, pretending to be part of something a poser, now you can't
we
say
still
anything
got that
like that anymore. You still got it now? All right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't hear it anymore.
Especially living in the hardcore capital of the world.
Right. But it's, those are just tags. And to me, they don't mean anything in today's music world. I think it's so vast right now. And look, in 1991, 92, when I started this, playing death metal and had my demo in 92, that was taboo. Like you press play on a tape. The Mystical Gate of Reincarnation was my EP. Okay. You press play on that thing and people would listen to that. It was one of the heaviest things on earth at that time. They were just like, this is just not music, dude. Like it wasn't accepted. Now you got grandmas that go up to you, oh, death metal? Yeah, I've heard about it. So it's kind of like accepted.
Yeah.
What we do now is accepted by society. I was just at the awards in Canada for the Juno Awards. We were nominated there for the Goliath record. I'm happy Cryptopsy got it. I mean, it's a great record, and they haven't been they didn't win ever an award, so it was great. We had it back in the day on Ghosts and Gods record. So it's one of those things where you're getting recognized by the music industry at that level, playing death metal. So that's not something you'd see. You don't even see that in the States at the Grammys, right?
No.
So there's a lot of acceptance now for this genre of music, which has helped a lot to spray in a lot of stuff. And it's brought a lot of women into it, like so many female-fronted bands now.
Tons of them. Not just Arch Enemy, but like bands like Stabbing, the great new death metal band, is fucking killing it now.
Never heard, yeah. So I manage also Unleash the Archers, a great band, and they have so many great singers out there now, and I think it's opened up a lot of doors and it's made things different. So there's space for involvement in there. So
definitely,
it's cool.
And to the final question I wanted to ask actually is, it's so cliche at this point to ask who are your influences in metal, but when I talk to like a lot of newer death metal bands, Frozen Soul, sang with Sugabog, Creeping Death, they'll say they took inspirations from Cataclysm, Cannibal Corpse, Deicide, Morbid Angel. But, these death metal bands that started in the mid to late 80s, who were exactly their influences in a way? Because it really is a big leap when you compare what was big before death metal. The 80s hair metal, thrash metal was still on the rise and stuff.
Right.
But it is like, I mean, you compare Kill 'Em All by Metallica to, Legion by Deicide. I mean, that is a big
The
fucking
leap
difference.
is huge. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
like-
then there's a big leap from Black Sabbath to Metallica.
Of course. So I'm just wondering.
How did it happen?
Yeah.
Right. That's a good question. I have no idea, but somebody experimented, right? So I'm hoping that we're gonna. I mean, I don't know how far it can go as far as extremity is concerned, because we are probably, in my opinion, at the limit of it. How crazy can it be? It'll be just noise, right? And that's already been done, like to the point where it's like, blast beats and nonstop, like so. It's. I think that now. It's found, its foundation all the way to its most extreme nature, and in there, it's going to find its roots. People are going to start finding what they can do with both worlds, But those leaps have been like us, big for sure. Between, but that's their influences. Influences came from Black Sabbath, and even if you look at Black Sabbath from the Rolling Stones, not Rolling Stones, from the Beatles to that, right? That was a huge leap,
Of course.
also.
And
so it's just the human nature of trying to get things bigger and heavier and stronger and going towards that direction.
And you see young people calling Black Sabbath doom metal or calling Iron Maiden power metal, where like they weren't
Right.
calling themselves that back in the day. It wasn't like that and they weren't calling Shadows Fall metalcore when they started either. So
Yeah, it's just tags that got invented. We got so many different divisions now because there's so many bands doing something different, and you can't say that, Deicide sound like Death Angel. They're two different things. So what are they? Well, then that's why we invented these tags, so
yeah.
I enjoy it, man. I mean, I still think it's a fresh industry because there's always something new popping up. We do have a very aging scene though. Like at the same time, that's why it's important that what's going on now. We're seeing a lot of new kids because the only problem I see, in my opinion, for this in the future is going to be how the development will happen. So I'm in management, so I see how things go, and it's very hard out there for bands to earn a living. Very hard out there for bands to try and sustain themselves on the road. It's so expensive right now with the inflation and everything. It's a tour bus used to be $1,400 a day. Now it's $3,000
a day.
So a tour bus,
for a whole day.
A day.
A day. So you do a 30-day tour. I mean, is there any profit? And
It's exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's very tough. So even some of these bigger bands, like big bands, are touring only for merchandise. They're not saying that, but I know they are because I know the costs. Flights, the visas are insane right now. They're double the price they used to be. Flights are going up. The fuel's crazy. The buses are crazy. I mean, the money and the industry, it's growing, but it's not growing to the level of, it's not following the inflation. You know what I mean? It's not like people are buying. No, now bands are touring way more. I don't know if you noticed, like it's packed out there with tours.
Yeah.
So people are supposed to go to shows now, and they got to buy a T-shirt. They got to buy a CD, or if they don't buy the shirt, bands play for free.
Yeah,
That's pretty much. There's a lot of bands that's like that, right?
And times are tough for everybody now. You see people at a show, maybe they were saving up for a couple weeks to buy that one ticket, and then like going to a show for a consumer is like an expense in itself. I know people who choose not to take vacations because they use their vacation money to just buy concert tickets to see every band that they could see. And
imagine.
Yeah. So like, especially here in New York, where from what I understand, is you can make $100,000 a year and it's still difficult to live comfortably here.
It's very difficult in New York.
Yeah. So like,
but also down here in Florida, it's getting harder.
Yeah.
It's more expensive.
I blame us New Yorkers for that. For so many that migrated too.
I mean, I came in here at the right time, right before COVID happened, so I'm okay. But I mean, even somebody wants to buy a house down here now, it's very expensive. Like so things are just tough. These kids can go to concerts. The beers. $10-$12.
Oh.
I mean, probably in New York, you're $15 for a beer, and then
how much a beer is at Madison?
$15. It used to be $4.
Madison Square Garden, one of those Bud Lights, $30.
I mean, come on,
like
ridiculous.
God, can you at least fucking make at least charge $30 for decent beer?
Yeah. For a Bud Light, $30. I don't know. I don't know how people can do it, but it's called credit cards.
Yeah.
and and a lot of debt. So
And then you
that's
put it
what
on
I'm doing.
another credit card and put it on another credit.
Dude, it's like I said, like I look at all numbers and I look a lot of that stuff. And, if you see merchandise sales now, it used to be all cash. Now, then it became like a 50-50 thing. Now it's going three-quarters credit cards.
Yeah. So
So people are running out of money,
yeah, and I
and
give bands
it's,
all the credit when those venues do the merch cut thing or something like that, and then they
yeah, that
just
was a big issue as well.
they
So there's a lot
s-
of pushback. Now they're getting regulated a little bit
yeah,
better.
or they just
But
sell it in the parking lot, which I think is actually a pretty decent idea.
I mean, like, if it has to end up, people selling it outside the venue, then so be it.
Yeah.
When it rains, it's gonna suck, but what are you gonna do?
Well, that's
You
when
know?
well start selling raincoats.
Right. But yeah, yeah. Sell a raincoat with a logo on it.
Oh man, your shirt got that shirt you bought just got wet. Well, for an additional $50, we'll throw in this hoodie or this
Yeah, like
raincoat.
$50. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so before we go, I want to thank you as always for coming back on the show. And I know I've thanked you for this 1,000 times, but I'll just continue to say it. Between Cataclysm and XDO and Invictus, thank you for all the music that you continue to give us.
Thank you,
and
man. Thank you. We're gonna release an EP for Xdeo in September.
Oh fuck
So
yes.
that's gonna be the follow-up to Nero. It's gonna just an EP, 4 songs that's coming out. It's called the Year of the Four Emperors. So each song's gonna talk about those emperors, and it's actually continuing right after Nero's death. So it's gonna be kind of cool.
Oh, that's fucking awesome.
Working on that. Might do another solo record slowly. Like I said, I'm in writing mode, man. That's what I want to do right now. Like that's why this US tour we're gonna run now. We're starting next week, and with Decapitated and Septic Flesh, that's going to be the only run we're going to do in the States for Goliath, probably,
Okay.
because we want to just continue writing. We got a lot to say and a lot of music to write, so we want to do that. So that's going to be the focus moving forward.
I can't wait, and I cannot wait for that Decapitated Septic Flesh tour with you guys in a Legion opening. Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
gonna be a freaking.
It's a monster package. Yeah,
I
I
gotta
hope
get
to
my
see you there
ticket.
if you come in.
I gotta get my ticket, but I'll definitely.
You don't need a ticket. We'll take care of you. Just let us know, and
I appreciate it,
we'll
man.
put you on the list, man.
That's
No
a new
problem.
venue too that you're playing at too in
Yeah.
Brooklyn. It's like a brand. I've never been there before. I heard it's like very very nice. It's like
Cool.
It's like a very like. It's built almost kind of like an old school like Baroque theater in a way.
Really?
Yeah, so
Cool.
it's gonna look beautiful.
Is that in the city or it's in Brooklyn?
It's in Brooklyn. It's in South Brooklyn.
Probably better
Yeah,
than
yeah,
going to the city.
Absolutely.
Right?
But thank you so much, everybody. Maurizio of Kataklysm. Be sure to check out Goliath if you haven't already. We'll see you next time on Heavy New York.
Thank you, dude.